Hello, Goblin fans, and welcome to the Coach's Show with Coach Tommy Ties. We're here to talk about last week's big win over Siloam Springs for homecoming. Boy, that was a great game, Coach. Big win. Very easily could have got back. We talked a little bit about this off the air. When it got down 14-0, very easily for the Goblins to kind of fall back into this, here we go again. But they fought through. We got the big 73-yard touchdown run by Tate Stokes, the interception. All of a sudden, halftime, we're up 17-14, and it just keeps going from that way.
Yeah, Lauren, there's no quitting the Goblin. It's just not going to happen. But, down 14-0, and really we hadn't played that bad. Mm-hmm. We missed an assignment or two on the running back. But offensively, we'd turned the football over, but we had driven the football. And, all of a sudden the light just came on. Mm-hmm. Offensively and defensively, especially up front. In the offense and defensive lines, we started controlling, the line of scrimmage, playing on their side of the ball, as we like to say. And then all of a sudden, everybody's, got in the right spot. And so, we're making some proper choices and doing some things that we knew we could do it, but could they do it out there when it was their responsibility, mm-hmm. not with the coach standing over you. When you're out there by yourself, only you and your teammates, can you be counted on? Boy, they stood up and they were counted on big time.
And I thought we did a really, really good job. Grady Truitt, their running back, ran for 135 yards in the first 6 minutes of the game. Got 1 yard after that.
Yeah, well.
And that was, you talk about being in the right spot and doing the right thing, but I think the Goblins made a great adjustment and actually kept them in check.
Well, we really didn't make an adjustment. I mean, there was no coaching adjustment on Truitt, mm-hmm. Because we had decided if somebody was going to beat it, it's going to be Grady Truitt. It was not going to be Pippen.
Right.
But what happened was we just, as we see the film, we'll see that we're two people in the same gap sometimes, and Truitt's a good running back, and he found the holes and he made the plays. But the adjustment that really helped us was when we went out of blitzing people, sending people, 6, 7 people through the line of scrimmage, and not being in the right spot. Mm-hmm. Because if you're blitzing and you don't hit the right hole, then you're paying for it. And Truitt was making us pay for it.
Right.
So we quit that. And we started sending 3 people after the quarterback and dropping 8 people and playing what we call base defense. And, boy, it worked great. It was a great adjustment by Coach Eddington.
And it was a great adjustment because it allowed, with the 3 and the 4-man rush that you went to at times, we're actually getting pressure, and the secondary played extremely well. As you went to a zone package and they just stayed in their positions, as we can see during the film. We got the interceptions when we needed them. The big turning point that I thought was the John Colliver interception that we're going to see a little later here. Big play. And then he gets the 30-yard return on it. Get first and 10 on the 19-yard line, and in a way for us to tie the score, make it a whole brand new ball game, and at that point you could see the momentum shifting for the Goblins, and it just carried over for the rest of the night.
Exactly. The defensive front of Eric Mitchell and Cody Hale, mm-hmm. and Ray Gomez, Brandon Davis at times, and then we'd send the linebacker Colliver off the edge, or Holtby off the edge, or Dorman, mm-hmm. Sometimes. And when you get pressure with 3 and 4 against spread teams, you're in business. If you have to send more than 3 or 4 guys after the quarterback, then you're in man coverage, and that's just not one of our strong suits, is man coverage. Our guys are more suited for zone defense. Mm-hmm. Of course, the insertion of Mikey Andresen.
Boy, he played big.
He played really big, and we've seen this from Mikey the last couple of weeks in practice. I knew he was coming, and the plays he was making in practice, and we finally pulled the trigger and said, Mikey, the job's yours. Mm-hmm. And he went out there and responded. And got a fumble recovery, got a great pass interception.
Oh, it was fantastic the way he stepped right in there and took that ball.
And then, I thought Caleb Frazier came in, mm-hmm. and played linebacker, and gave us 3 good linebackers to rotate with him and Taylor Wells, and, of course, Austin Jensen, mm-hmm. our spiritual leader out there. And so that really helped us. But then, offensive line-wise, we started pounding the football. Running the football right at him with a power play off tackle and a sweep, and then we were able to fake the sweep and get Tate outside, mm-hmm. running and throwing. And then you talked about John Colliver. Well, what can you say? You're bell cow, and that's what John is for us. He has to make plays, But he just makes the plays by doing his job, being where he's supposed to be, setting that example for the rest of the guys to go by. And they threw it right to him a time or two.
Well, we talk about this, and we'll see it in the when we go through play-by-play. But, when you got to make that cross-field, out route, if you don't have a strong enough arm to get it there quick enough and try to throw over, as you mentioned, a 6'6" guy, it ain't easy to do that.
No,
I mean, it almost looked like they threw it right to him. A big interception, got that return. We also talked about with the defensive line, at times Eric Mitchell stepped up, made some big hits. We're going to see, we made reference to it. Ray Gomez stepped up. That defensive line at times when they had their shot and they stayed in their positions were able to get the hits and play the positions. Austin Jensen, when Siloam Springs was late in the game and they got it to within 10, Austin Jensen and Siloam Springs was marching, makes the big tip. We get the interception. People don't, they don't take it. They talk a little bit about how that doesn't work, but he made the tip, got him to do the change. And we got the interception, stopped that drive, and we ended up winning the game.
And what was really good about that was, Austin tips the ball, and then everybody kept coming toward the ball, and Hobie came up with the interception.
Mm-hmm.
Don't stand around when the ball goes there. Everybody go to the ball. Mm-hmm. And, we may not pick it off, but if we tip it, we got a chance for somebody else to pick it off. But, I think we outfoxed them a little bit. I fully believe that. I think that Coach Eddington outcoached them. Yeah. They were coming in the ball game. They're expecting all these blitz packages, sending 6 and 7 guys, and all of a sudden we just stop it. And they have not prepared for it. And I think that Coach Ed kind of outfoxed them a little bit.
Well, and the other thing is you've talked about, and we made reference to this in the pregame show, Jim Johnson and I a little bit. Week after week, you got to come prepared to play in the 5A West. Siloam Springs was still. And I don't want to say that you got to play everybody, but you caught them at the right time. They were off a big win over Greenwood in week 1, not realizing that you've got to play week after week and be prepared. And they had based on the information, we had a bad week of practice. They were still on cloud 9 from beating Greenwood. And he come out here and did a good old goblin tail whipping, and that's what we needed.
Well, and everybody's got to handle it differently, that's why we try not to get too high, for any one given game, because this thing's a marathon, and it's a roller coaster ride at best. Mm-hmm. You can't get too high with the good times, and you can't get too low with the bad times. You just got to keep swinging. You got to keep positive. You got to keep looking to the next play and looking to tomorrow, and that's the only way you can do it in the 5A West. Mm-hmm. But they talked about had a bad week of practice. Well, that's their problem.
Right.
That's not our problem. They had won a big ball game, but every game in this league is a big ball game, and it's going to be that way throughout the rest of the year. Going into practice this week, I haven't sensed that we've got the big head in any way about beating, Siloam Springs. But we expect to win every time out.
That's right.
We're goblins. Mm-hmm. We expect to win every time out. That's why we go to the game. If we don't think we're going to win, I just soon stay at the house.
Right.
We got a little different deal this week. We're going on the road. Mm-hmm. I'd like for us, and I've talked to them about it. Let's show a little bit more mental toughness. We didn't give a good account of ourselves the last 2 times we went on the road. But this is a new day. This is a new week. It's a new game. And we love to play in Alma.
Yeah. And a Goblin win this week would really just throw huge wrenches into the standings. Not that it's that we want to talk a little bit about that too much. But, everybody could be, if you win, everybody's 2-1. Except Greenbrier, if they win, they'd be undefeated. But, boy, I tell you what, it would just make it a nice little way to be in there because it's a dogfight all the way to the end.
Well, I think, I really think our kids believe that, they're going to do great things, that they're going to win ball games. And I think they figured out how to go about that. And that's just, be a good teammate. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about the scoreboard. Don't look up there, 14-0 against you or 14-0 in favor. It doesn't mean anything. The only thing that means anything are the relationships that you're building with those teammates. And those things will carry you through, not only in a ball game, but they'll carry you through in life. And they'll carry you through the rest of your life. When you get down, you've got to have somebody to count on. Who are you going to call? Well, you don't call Ghostbusters.
Right.
You're going to call one of those old teammates that you've bled with, that you've cried with, that you've laughed with. And those guys are always going to be there for you. Yeah. So, that's the thing that we're trying to build with this ball club. And, of course, mental and physical toughness. And it's to be in the 5A West, You got to be mentally and physically tough.
Well, Coach, let's take a short break. We come back. We're going to look at the highlights of this past week's big Goblin win over Siloam Springs. We'll be right back.